Welcome to GEG Central Bangkok. Tonight we're going to discuss the new Google certification. Well, some of it's new, some of it's old. First to introduce themselves is Rolf.
Yeah, hi everybody. My name is Rolf. I'm talking to you out of Bangkok. I am a 7th grade English teacher and have been working with Google Apps since 2 years ago. And the benefits are really magnificent, and I still have to obtain many of the certifications. However, I can proudly say that I've passed the admin one, and it will give you all a great chance to prosper your future life as a teacher.
Okay, and James.
Hi Lee, thank you mate. Hi Ralph, hi everybody. I am a certified educator, certified administrator. I've been working with Google Apps for about 3 years. Very lucky to have presented with the legendary Lee Webster and others on various tours around Asia. So yeah, just absolutely love using Google Apps. Just recently been recertifying myself with the new certified educator exam, so I'll be talking about that shortly.
Okay, and Borson.
Hi, I got my web camera working now.
Hey.
I'm Borsong, or you can call me Michael. I work for Sripatum University in Bangkok for Office of Online Education. I am here to learn from you. You all cool. So thank you.
Okay, and Dan might be popping in, but yeah, my name is Lee Webster. I'm a Google Certified Innovator and a Google Certified Educator. And yeah, as I said, tonight we are going to talk about the Google certification. Okay, guys, I've opened the Q&A, and I think we have a question already. But we'll cover Sagon. He's in Nepal. I know him very well. He's put up a question, and we'll answer that later, I think. We'll go back to that later. So a few questions. Let's go to James first, and let's talk about, James, what is the new, you did level 1 and level 2, the new educating exam. Can you tell us a bit about that, James?
Yeah, sure. Well, just comparing the old exams to the new ones. The old exams very much were testing your knowledge of the Google toolbox of how to do things. And the old exams would ask you a question, for example, how do you share a document? How many people can be editing a document at one time? What are the maximum number of people the document could be shared with? And so on. So it's very, very much about the specifics of how Google Apps was designed. The new Google Educator exams have changed that quite a bit. And I know you've been looking at them as well, Lee. The new Google Educator exams require you to have much greater knowledge of using educational technology in the classroom and actually implementing these tools in the classroom. So whereas before it may have been, how could you represent data within Google Sheets? Now I'll actually specifically say, here's a set of data. We want you to go ahead and draw a chart of this data. What is the appropriate chart? And how are you going to do that? And secondly, how could you take that chart, for example, and insert it into a site so that students could share it as part of their project? So kind of the shift, it's gone from just a basic how-to with Google Apps straight into much more pedagogy of how we're using these tools in the classroom.
Okay.
There are,
yeah, carry on, James. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, sorry, mate. So there's 2 levels. There's Google Educator Level 1 and Google Educator Level 2. Both exams are 180 minutes long, so it's quite a chunk of time. Certainly, for me personally, I've been using Google tools for quite a while. I actually found the level of the exams to be quite similar. I didn't find that level 1 was that different from level 2. The span or the breadth of level 2 was much greater. There's much more detail in level 2 and level 1. But I didn't think there was that much difference in the level of difficulty between the two.
Yeah, I did. I looked over. There's a bit of feedback. Is there feedback? Is you getting feedback, guys?
I'm catching nothing, mate.
I think it's gone now, but I heard it.
Yeah. I think it's someone's mic. Anyway, so yeah, I tested out the level 2. And like you said, James, I think the thing of the matter for me is that you do have 3 hours, but for each test. But don't let that fool you, because there's a lot to do in those 3 hours. But I would agree with you. It's more the practice in the classroom is much more within the exams these days. It just used to be the applications, which I think is important also. Go on.
Yeah, talking about that 3 hours, I tell you what, I did the old exams I think 3 times round, and when I took these two educator level, especially level 2, I thought I'd be done in 2 hours. I was not. I was rushing towards the end, about 2.5 hours, 2 3/4 hours. I was definitely rushing to get it finished. It's a lot of material to go through.
Yeah, it is. It is quite a lot. And my advice is that don't let the time fool you, because you've got a lot to do in the 3 hours. And I went off and had some a little bit of a break. Well, not a little bit of a break, but just some water and stuff like that, and came back a few times. But you've got a lot to do, and I think the last part, there's scenarios, and I didn't finish the last scenario in the last section. Okay, let's before we go on to another exam, let's sort out the Q&A. Guys, can you see the Q&A?
Yeah, I've got it up here.
Yeah, okay, let's go through the first one, and then we'll move on, and then we'll come back to and Martin's just posted one, but I think we'll do them as we come through. So Sagan's question is, in Nepal, very good guy that I know, who's out there in some difficult, trying to get bandwidth for him is not always great, but he pushes Google Apps out there, which is really great. So his question is, GAF is being introduced with new features weekly. As we move forward, certification, it becomes really confusing to focus on things you left behind months ago. Is there any automation mechanism in exam questions that we should know about? Where to look? Thanks. Yeah, anybody got advice?
Do you think Sagan's talking about where to get the latest updates of what's been happening with Google Apps?
I was thinking that myself. Yeah, it might be, because in that respect, there's the calendar, isn't there, James? Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a couple of places, isn't there? There's the product release calendar. What are the addresses for that? I'm just going to look it up.
Yeah, I think, yeah. So I'm on that, and you sign up, don't you? And then it automatically puts up the releases within your calendar. Yes, am I right?
Yeah, that's right.
Has anybody else got that?
I haven't switched it like that, no, but I know about the release calendar. However, I doubt that all the new release features are instantly integrated in the questionnaires.
No, I doubt it. Not in new releases.
I believe that mainly focuses on features which are not on the current updates, I believe.
Yeah. There's no beta or anything like that. Most of the stuff is already out there already. Automation mechanism in exam questions, he said. I think he might be on about that. Have you found the link yet, James?
Yeah, I've got it here, mate. Actually, Seti must be out there as well, because he's just sent it to me as well.
Yeah.
Seti.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can you, in a minute, you can screen share if you want, and sort that out. Oh, here we go. He sent me a message. I was talking about the exam questions being updated according to new releases. And I don't think that will happen, to be honest with you. I think it will take some time. Yeah. What do you guys think?
Well, I think that basically the exams will be. You can master them if you take the courses on the 2 sites which are out there, and I believe that all the course covers basically all the questions. So if in the courses there shall be new integrated features which are discussed there or mentioned, then maybe they show up in the test as well. But I think that's a very, very good guideline of what will be asked in the tests.
Yeah, basically he's just put me another one. Is there any automation in the questions being automatically updating exams? No, definitely not, I would say. What would you guys say?
No.
Yeah, it took me a time to understand that. I think no.
No. So I think that anything that's new release will not go in exams for at least 6 months, I would say, because the exams are not updated. It's kind of, I think they're updated every 6 months. Okay. So let's go on to Martin's question. Do we want to answer that before we move on? Why not? Okay,
Yeah.
so the new level 1 and new level 2 exams are excellent as performance content assessments. I'd be interested in duplicating this for my students. Anyone know how it was coded? Can we get our hands on it? Oh, good question. Anybody know if the API is out on the exam questions itself? Is it Course Builder? I'm not sure.
I'm actually
James?
not sure on that. I'm actually not sure. What do you think, Ralph?
Oh, I don't know. I don't have a clue. James, you did with Upsevents similar courses which try to track efforts in the domain.
Yeah.
I believe you need script exports from the
Yeah,
domain.
we use scripts to monitor action on the domain.
Yeah. So what script do you use in the domain to get the data out?
We've used things like GAM and GAT just to basically monitor stuff that's happening on the domain.
Okay, so the apps events admin exam we're talking about, just to clarify for people out there who don't know, James, you built that course, is that correct?
Yeah, so we developed that course for teachers who are interested in administration, but I think what Ralph is talking about is how we made the examining component of it. So we have people doing live actions on a live domain, and then we were measuring those actions.
Okay.
Well, we haven't talked about the second part of the innovator
yeah.
one exam, which is like a practical exam which you do on the domain. And with the innovator, I think you do mainly user stuff, yeah, what a teacher would do to share documents, to make a form, and to administer your classes. And with the administrator, it's far more complex because you create users and what I understand from the question is that these tests are done so nicely. With what tool are they done? How are they checked? I don't have a clue how James even checks his data from the domain. But okay, with tools like GET, you can read out domain information. And
yeah, okay. So, Borisson, do you have any idea of good course builders that are out there that do exams as well? Is he still there? No. Okay, maybe he'll come back in a minute. Okay, so what I was also going to say is there is the course builder. Do you know the Google Course Builder, guys? You ever seen it?
Yeah, I do know it. I haven't used it much. Have you used it, Ralph or Lee?
No,
I've been interested in it. I've never got the time to go around, but that is released, and that is, if you want to look at how that works, if you go to the Google Advanced Search course, yeah, and that's built on Course Builder, Google Course Builder. It's quite impressive as well, and the API is released on that. You can get that and start building. But I thought it was a very good course as well. And also, there used to be certification for it, but there's not now. But it's a brilliant course. And I advise anybody, it really teaches you about some great search skills that you probably never knew were there. Yeah, anybody want to add to that before we move on?
I always...
Yes,
on, James.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you want to do a test on this stuff,
yeah,
quite simply, Google Forms might be the way to go on it. And then just issue a document, have every student contribute to a shared document, and show their knowledge of Google tools through that.
Yeah, well,
just the easy way of doing it.
Yeah. Okay. Chris has just put a question up. We'll get that question going in a minute. Okay. I think next is Rolf. Do you want to say something about the admin exam? Yeah. Is it difficult? How did you find it? What do you have to have? Is it different from the educator exam?
I try to remember when I was taking it, and time is exactly the same as you guys thought in the innovator course. I really had to rush, and the hands-on activities are.
How much time do you have, Rolf, on the
Oh, I
admin?
couldn't look up. I think it was 3
James,
hours.
James,
3
you know,
hours.
2 hours, right?
2
Yeah.
hours. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay. So what is the content, please, Rolf?
I prepared myself in the last time so much for the innovator that right now I would say that you get, as with the second part of the innovator, you get an account, and then you get scenarios which you have. They are in not Google language, so they are in layman's terms language, and you gotta translate that into with your technical knowledge into the right Google switches. And sometimes it's a little bit more obvious what is meant, and sometimes it isn't. But a lot of it has to do with which services you can switch on where, and the real tricky part is to translate the layman's terms. Yeah, there's the boss who wants this group to use that and not that tool, and then you just got to know that you have to use the organizational units to do all this stuff and the switching, and that's they say in the course prerequisites that you should have been administrator for at least 6 months or something like that, and that surely does help. And I would say that if you have never seen the admin console and never done anything on it, it is really not easy to be done. However, if you had contacts to one of the many super admins around who might let you sneak and peek and even work with it, maybe you can really get yourself fit when you're a bit technical, yeah, not too technical.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to go over to James in a minute, but just to say that it's a pity it's not the old days, because about 2.5 years ago, Google used to be able to get a free domain, and you'd have 10 users. I've still got mine, but they're
Lucky
always.
Lucky you are. So
Yeah,
offer it to somebody who wants to learn.
And yeah, if they want to learn, I'll let them in. There's a domain sitting there with, well, I just mess around with it now and again, and they used to give it out for 10. They're always sending me mails to update, so I pay for it, but I never do. I've still got 10 users, so I'm willing to give someone a go on it. If they want to send me an email, I'll let them into the domain for a while.
I think all of us here present can offer the same, so we are all able to contact that request.
So, James, you want to say anything about admin?
Yeah, I'd actually add to what Ralph is saying. I think, for me, I know what Ralph thinks, but Google Apps, the forums, sorry, not forums, groups, Google Groups for Business. I lost my train of thought. Google Groups for Business is a key feature of the admin exams. And if you haven't enabled Groups for Business on the domain, you're going to be missing out on a lot of preparation for that exam. So if you are an administrator, if you've got access to your domain right now, go to Groups for Business, set that up on your domain, and get familiar with all the tools in there, because there's a lot of questions talk about different levels of permissions within groups. So standard groups, if you set up a standard group on the domain, get the ability, it's essentially just a mailing list. But advanced groups, or Groups for Business it's called, is just basically advanced permissions on groups. You can set who can post to a group, who can view a group, and things like that.
Yeah,
right.
That can be very deep there, I must admit.
Right. Okay. So guys, they give you, is it right? They give you different scenarios to do. And how many scenarios do you have to do in the whole exam? Do you know? Can you remember?
I believe it's about 8 scenarios.
And is it the same as the educator guys, when you have scenarios and you have so many questions in each scenario?
Yeah. So
right.
You match up a scenario, everything between 3 and 6 different points, and you go through a scenario and you build it up. So I mean, obviously, I'm not giving much away here by saying one scenario involves creating users on the domain and different ways in which you can do that.
So yeah, basically, we'll go back to educator level 1 and 2. We're getting that feedback again, but never mind. Educator 1 and 2, you're actually in the domain, yeah?
Yeah, so you're on...
Can you kind of explain that? Probably some people don't know what I'm on about. Go on.
Yeah, so you're given a test domain to work on. So a little bit like you've got your school domain that you do all of your school work on. Let's set you up a new account. It'll be Lee Webster Training or Lee Webster Educator, and you'll sign in with this educator account. And it's just like a fresh Google Apps account. So it's pretty much blank, but within there you'll see your own Google Drive, and you'll have maybe 5 or 6 different documents which are pertaining to the exam you're going to take. And then it'll say things like, okay, we want you to create a document and share it to these users which already exist on the domain. Maybe you want to change the owner of that document. Whatever it is, it's all actually being done on the domain. And they're using scripts or a special program to check that you've done all of the things that it asked in the exam. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the exam, when you've answered all the questions and you've matched up all the different scenarios, you'll hit submit. And essentially what the Google computers are doing are just checking to see if you've matched up everything that's been requested. So you've done all of the things it said to do on the domain.
Right. And also, just to clarify with other people, it's the same as the educator exam where you have your webcam on, yes?
Yes, it is.
Okay, okay. Right, well, let's go to Chris's question, because we're going to go back in time a little bit and take the TARDIS. We're going back to the level of the Educator 1 and 2 exams, and his question is, I'm getting ready to take level 1 test soon. I've been going through the material again. Is the content equally weighted, distributed throughout the test? Okay.
I have an idea to that. The multiple choice questions is half of the test, and the scenarios are the other half of the test. For the scenario, you put a lot of effort in, and you feel like really toiling away there. And I believe it is more gratifying. But as you don't know you don't get any feedback what questions were right or wrong. Yeah. I find the multiple choice question is more of a jeopardy. However, if you have time and you read them carefully, you might get away with common sense sometimes.
Yeah, I think the best advice I've given, which is all of the Google exams, is if it's a question that is a bit promiscuous, shall we say, and pick the one that makes Google look good. That's what I was told. Okay, James, anything to add on Chris's question?
Yeah, I would say it's fairly distributed over the exam. I think I understand what you're saying. Yeah, it is. There's no one key tool or key app that's featured more than the others. Something that surprised me a little bit on Educator 1 was the depth that the exam went to. And actually, if you look at the training for level 1, and if you want to go to any of the training, you just go to the website edutrainingcenter.withgoogle.com. That's edutrainingcenter.withgoogle.com. And if you look at, and it'll just describe what the training is, but I'm just going to very briefly go over the overview of what topics are included. You've got teach students online skills, build interactive lessons, captivate your class with video, facilitate group work, and promote digital citizenship. At no point does it say use Google Drive or use Google Sheets to do this. And when it does get onto specifics, and actually more so in level 2, there's a topic here, analyze and interpret student data. Now, for example, it doesn't actually say use Google Sheets to do that. The topic is analyze and interpret student data. But obviously, you'll go into Google Sheets and you'll be using charts and reports and stuff like that. So it's much less, again, the A to Z of how to use a tool. It's much more about how we as teachers are implementing it in the classroom.
Yeah, and I think the level 2 basically goes over, it's all the key apps, isn't it? All the core apps and Google Sites, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. And I don't think there's anything else, is it? It's all the core apps and Google Sites.
That's right, yeah.
And like I said, I think there was 2, not giving anything away, but there's 2 Google Site scenarios, and they a lot of your time on level 2. You've got to go through them quite quickly. Like I said, I got misled and thought, oh, I've got loads of time, but don't go down that trail. If any guys want to stick up some more Q&A, please do. We've gone through the other questions. So Innovator, okay. Basically, a lot of people still get confused about the innovator. It used to be Google Certified Teacher. And the only way to become an innovator now, or as in the past, Google Certified Teacher, is to go to one of the academies, okay? So the academies are, there's about 3 or 4 in the US. Obviously, one is Mountain View, the headquarters of Google. There's one in Sydney, there's one in London, and last year they opened one in the Philippines, and they've been promising some other destinations, but they haven't been announced yet. Basically, if it's the same format as before, you send in your application form, you fill it out, you send in a video view. I think it's 3 minutes. Not like I know. Actually, I think it's 2. Yeah, the Apple Distinguished Educator is 3, and the Google Certified Innovator is 2 minutes, which I found really, really hard. I think 3 minutes is much easier than 2. You have to put a lot of stuff in, and then the guys I've spoken to who chose them, what they do is they also look at your reach in your region as well. It's not only your reach across the world, and so the guys I was at with Sydney, actually there was 2 US guys. One was Donnie, and the other one, what's his name? The one who does the drama, Nick. Yeah, Nick. Sorry, Nick.
Nick Cosmano.
Yeah. Nick. Those 2 I was in Sydney with, and the reason they came all the way, huge flight from the US, is the US is the hardest academy to get in. They only take 50 applicants per academy, and the reason, obviously, you know, Google being so popular in the US in education, they have so many applications, and a lot get refused. And I think Nick applied to the Google Academy 3 times. On his 3rd time, he went to Sydney to get certified. So just warning people in the US, if you're thinking about the US, it's harder to get in, because what they want is in every cohort they want a mixture of cultures from different places. So obviously the London, Sydney, and Asia ones are easier to get in, because not only do they want a mixture of cultures, but also they look, like I say, you don't really need to be massively online, but it does give you a bonus if you have a positive digital footprint that they can look at, and you're active online, because they're also looking at your reach. I don't know if anybody wants to add to that before we move on. No?
Well, it's officially stated that you should have the educated level 2 done.
Oh yeah, that's
right.
new. Yeah. Now you need the level 2, which is making that important. Actually, guys, I don't know this, but someone might ask now, do you need to do level 1 before you do level 2, or can you just do level 2 and then be an innovator?
No, I think you have to do level 1.
You do? James, do you know that?
Doesn't say that. Doesn't say anywhere you can't do level 2.
No, I haven't seen any documentation. That's my question. If anybody out there knows, please put it in the Q&A. Okay, and I think we're on, if there's no Q&A for that. No, not yet. Please put any more questions up, guys, if you want to. We will go on to the last, well, no, there's 2 more certifications. And the one is, now they call it used to be called the Educator exam, yeah? But now it's called the Essential Educator Trainer exam, isn't it? The essential, is that right, James? Essential?
I don't know the name.
It's a right mouthful. I know that.
I took them last week. I don't know what they're called now.
I think it's called the something like the Trainer Essential Exams. And
Trainer Essentials. Yeah, that sounds about right.
There you go. So Trainer Essentials, and there are, is it 6 modules, James? 6 modules?
Actually down to 4, I think.
No, it's 4, and you have to choose one. Yes.
Yeah.
There's choosable ones. Like one is Android, isn't it? They've one is Chrome. Is it Chrome?
Yeah, one is Chrome, one is what is it? Play for Education. One is
Play for Education. Obviously, I think I chose Chrome. But yeah, those exams do they vary, or is it all 90 minutes? I can't remember.
Yeah, they're all 90 minutes.
They're all 90 minutes, and you have to get 80%.
Yeah.
I think and you can, everybody knows this, so I'm not giving anything away. You can use Control F to search. That's a little key note that you can use to search some of them, because there are some questions that are really tricky. But it is quite a tricky. All of them are quite tricky exams. What do you think, James?
Well, I've actually got a different question here. So when I did these exams last week, and I bought the Essentials package.
Okay.
And that was only 4 exams.
Yeah.
So do you still need to do the elective?
Yeah. Do you? I don't know. Because it used to just be one package.
Because now it's Google for Education Required Exam Bundle. And I bought that 4 core exams required for the Trainer Essentials qualification.
But isn't the other one you just take and you don't have to pay for it? I don't know.
But there's nowhere to enter that information. When you
really? Have they took that away then? Because I don't know. Because I took mine 6 months ago, something like that.
Yeah, because I'm just going through all of this now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, the way I see it, you can choose.
It says you need your Trainer Essentials certificate, and you go to the google.starttest.com.
Yeah, I'm there.
But Sagan's just come online. He's saying, because I know he's just taken them, and he's going to apply to be a trainer, okay? And he's just taken them, and he said, yes, you have to have a selective. It's a total of 5. He's just, thanks, Sagan, okay?
But I remember that you can't choose just any 4 or any...
No, the 4, there's compulsory of 4, and there's one you choose.
Okay, that's it.
Okay, yeah. I just checked it. Sagan's right. Yeah, absolutely. You buy the 4, and then it's still the 1 elective. Yeah.
Yeah, it's still the same. Yeah, because I took mine 6 months ago. Actually, it's quite a funny story because just pointing out, whoever passes these exams, you have to do them every 18 months, and it's quite a funny story. Well, it's not for those people who were involved. But what happened is when Google decided to change all these exams and change the certification, the people who were certified trainers were in a kind of no man's land because Google shut the exams. Do you remember they shut the exams? They shut all the exams, didn't they? And these people were in a bit of a loophole because their trainer had run out and they had to retake the exams, and they shut them. How long was it? 2 months? Was it 2 months, guys?
Yeah, it was about 2 months.
Yeah, so and Sarah was one of them, and they were really annoyed because they couldn't go in and retake, and they were like, well, am I still certified or not? But obviously they were at the time. But yeah, they were in the right faffle about it. So yeah, just to point out, guys, you have to retake these exams every 18 months, and also when you finish, you can apply to be a trainer, and to be a trainer, you need to. It's a bit more simpler now. They give you this CV format template. You write that out. You write the what's it called? It's like a report, isn't it?
Case study.
Case study. You do the case study, and then you make a video of you doing one of the Google products, part of it, and also a bit about yourself, isn't it? Yeah. Am I right, James?
Yeah, 3-minute video about yourself, your training style, and about one demonstration.
Yeah, and about one demonstration. It used to be another one, which was you had to do a video of you actually training people, which is now they've made it a little bit easier. But like I say, just be aware that you have to take these exams every 18 months, and they are tricky. I tell you, Simon's just come up, training resume, case study, and they are tricky, I tell you. There was a couple that I just scraped through, bang on, 80%, bang on. There was a couple, woof.
No comment, mate. No comment.
No comment. Yeah, I know you did as well, so don't hide. You got 81%.
That Google Calendar exam, man. The Google Calendar.
Mate, it's horrible. You know the feeling, because saying that with the essential exams, what I liked about that is the essential exams, you can actually figure out if you do, because the first time I did it, I actually failed 2, I think. And the first time I did it, I failed 2. But you can actually kind of work out where you went wrong. And at the end, they give you a percentage. But when you do the educator exam, they don't give you any feedback at all. And you don't get a percentage, yeah? You kind of don't know where you are, where you got wrong. Yeah?
On the trainer ones, yeah?
Yeah, the trainer ones, you get the percentage, don't you?
Yeah,
And you kind of know where you went wrong, yeah? If you know what I mean. But the educator ones, you don't have a clue. Yeah, they just say, "Oh, you failed." Yeah, and I give that feedback as well. What does everybody else think about that? I don't think the feedback's great. Yeah.
Well, no, the feedback's actually quite bad. You go through an exam.
No offense, Google, if you're listening.
Mine's got 10% on the exam.
Yeah.
Don't know.
You don't know. You don't know anything. And I gave that feedback as
it might be 90%. You just don't know. I mean.
Yeah, that's right. And it doesn't. Also, in the essential exams, at least you know from the start where your target is. You know, they said, well, this is, you've got to get 80%. But in essential exams, if you get things wrong, that was my pointer, because I was part of the Apex team that did the feedback, and that was my main feedback, was there is no feedback. If you know what I mean. There's no percent, and there's nothing. And I think they need to start doing that, yeah? They really need to get that sorted out, all right? Anybody want to feedback, as we're on feedback, about this?
Can I hear a feedback? I'm not sure.
Go on. Anybody?
From the practical parts of the exam, I think you pretty much figured, did you get them or not? Like, do you know what to do? Did you do it? If you didn't do it, then you don't get the points. To be honest, as I've not taken all the essential exams, only the CITES one I have failed successfully, and I was pretty overwhelmed with the depth of them. And yeah, some multiple choice questions can be tricky. Yeah, they don't necessarily tell you, do you have to take 2 choices or 3 choices? Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So actually, after even just after an hour of not even 60 questions, 40 questions only, yeah.
I think it's a bit different in some of the exams. I think the Chrome one's longer, isn't it, guys?
Okay, I thought they're all 60 minutes. But
no, the time's correct, but the amount of questions.
Oh, the amount of questions.
Yeah, it's different.
So the test I took, I remembered that you had per minute, as you could research next to it. I remembered I checked. Basically, you have 1.5 minutes for each question. But if you don't have a clue and you want to research it, it will not work. I promise you. But
yeah. The only thing you can do if you go through quickly is that you can mark the ones you're not sure about.
That is very good. Yeah, that is very good.
Yeah, the best advice I got is don't hang around too long. Okay, if you're not sure, the one you want to pick is what makes Google look good. Boom, and mark it. And then what you can do is you can mark it and go back to it later. But keep racing through as quick as possible. The first time I did it and I failed on a few of them, like I said, is that I did that. I was like, oh my god, and I just took too long over each question, going, oh my god, when just go through and go, not sure, guess, mark, and then next one, guess, mark, and then it just go through, and then go back. Give you time at least 10-15 minutes to go back. And like I said,
Gary Garcia says 60 items. I think that he means that all of the are 60 items, but I'm not sure. I just want to mention that he's keeping me post, and he says there are 90 minutes. So
yeah, it is 90 minutes. It's 90 minutes, and I think
that makes it 1.5 minutes per question exactly. But even after only 60 questions, I was quite buzzed with all the multiple choice. It wasn't easy to.
No.
I didn't feel that I knew where I was wrong.
No, I'll admit that when I thought that actually that Chrome Chrome's quite big. I thought, oh, I know loads about Chrome. I'm going to find this so easy, and I was wrong. And also sites threw me. But different people got different things. But they're all a bit tricky. They're not simple at all. Yeah, do level 1, do level 2, and then go to the essentials. That's my advice. James?
Just trying to think actually which way I go.
Yeah. Well,
I think educator makes the most sense from a teacher's perspective.
Yeah.
I think the educator ones are easier for a normal teacher than the essential ones.
Yeah.
And quite frankly,
however, if you are a geek and you rather have to do with computers and
I suppose, guys, it depends on the person, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like if you're more in the classroom and you're more doing things, and you might find Educator 1 and 2 much more benefit. But if you, like you said, Ralph, if you're a bit geeky and you know the applications from back to front, you might want to do the essential exams. It all depends on the learner, I think. What do you think, James?
Yeah, I was just going to say that I think if you're a teacher in the classroom and you want to get some recognition for what you're doing in the classroom, go for Google Educator. If you are some kind of digital coach, tech integrationist in the school, definitely go Certified Educator, and for obviously the essentials as well. But I was also just going to say about the essentials, you're definitely right. Some of those questions are ambiguous. There's not a clear answer on some of those questions.
But your definition there was on the mark, James. What you said about the geeks and the technical IT directors or stuff, or people who want to further their career in a technical way and want to become a trainer. Their essential ones are challenging for you. That's what you look for, isn't it?
My other advice about the essential exams is that 1, if it makes Google look good, it's the right answer. 2, if it's anything to do with Microsoft, don't tick that one, because that one throws you, yeah? Anything to do with Microsoft, and there are a few they throw in there. You think, oh, it's just to throw you. You think, I know the answer to that, and then you go, but if it's to do with Microsoft, it's definitely not that answer, okay?
So I'm just reading in a Q&A from Jonathan Bennett, who I don't know, about the preparation, and he mentions the domain which we talked before, Trainer Learning Center with Google.com. I believe that if you take the courses, and they might seem, for one who uses Google tools, they might seem a little bit like patronizing at first, but I believe that especially the questions are aligned to wordings in the course. So if you really do the course with full of your attention, I think that you might fly through the test. I'm not sure, but I think that because I haven't done too much of the courses, because I always thought that, I know all that stuff, but in the end it is these numbers which are mentioned there, or it is the words which are mentioned there, or the wording which will give you a clue what is meant.
Yeah, so we'll go back, John. Yeah, first Jonathan's question. I suppose we'll go back to Q&A now, because there's quite a few coming. Would it be helpful to take the prep courses from this is the one that Ralph's talking about, the Teaching and Learning Center with .go with Google.com? If I'm preparing, another question, if I'm preparing for Educator Level 1, unfamiliar with specific topic, yeah? Okay. Yeah.
So I think he's asking, should he use the certified trainer resources for prepping for certified educator?
Right. Is that what he's asking, yeah?
So
if that is what he's asking, I think that's not necessarily, no.
No. I think you just should go through the educator perspective. The trainer one, yeah, is really complex through all the applications, whereas the educator ones are more classroom practice, yeah?
I just see that he mentioned the 2 different URLs there. Sorry, thank you very much, James, for that.
Yeah. Okay. have we answered that question, guys?
I'm just going to tie up with Jonathan's question. Oh, he's got a good point, actually. If he's unfamiliar with a specific topic, is it worth going through the Trainer Essentials material, Trainer Learning Center? I think I'd say yes. If you've never used forms before, going straight into the Google Educator material may be a little bit daunting. The Trainer material gives you, it's basically Training 101 with the Trainer material.
Yeah, the training material. I thought the training material was quite good. And some of the stuff, actually, the only annoying thing was there was a couple of questions. There was one in Pacific, I can't remember it. I should have took a screenshot, which was really, and I still haven't found the answer to it. It was absolutely doing my head in. The other stuff was fine, but there was one that was really promiscuous. But you're going to find that in the exam as well, as you go through it. But I thought the training material was quite good. What do you think, James?
Yeah, I totally agree. I definitely think if you've used the tools a little bit before and you know your way around them, just go through the educator training. But if you haven't, if there's one tool you've never used before, definitely go to the trainer training materials as well. They're a little bit older, but they're definitely just laid out in an A to Z of what the tool does and how you use it.
Yeah.
Not necessarily how you use it in the classroom, but just how you use the tool. So it's a good place to start, Jonathan.
Much more technically, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. There's Martin's one come up. Have you seen that one? I have built an intranet in G sites, but almost failed the trainer exam. The number one thing we should do as teachers is to provide feedback. An automated system could quite easily tell us what we need to work on. Why is it so difficult for Google to set up?
Well, I believe that Google has always, I've always felt that with Google is, if there is a document which there explains what you have to know, don't come asking about where to learn this. It's there. It's there on the net. You just know, you need to know where you need to look, and that's maybe why they don't provide feedback. That's my feeling, yeah. The sense could be, hey, you didn't pass this exam, do the course and do it meticulously, and you will pass. That is what I think. However, I actually would also appreciate feedback. Sure.
You can't have it both ways.
Well, that, Ralph? Come on, Ralph.
You can have it both ways. Right. No, I think, yeah, like with the essential exams, like I say, at least you get a percentage. You kind of know where you went wrong. But with the educator exams, you don't get nothing. I think they could improve that, especially for and also they need to think about that the essential exams. You're getting people that are quite technical that are taking them, so they kind of know where they went wrong. But with the educator exam, especially level 1, you've got a person that might be looking at Google tools for the first time. And they want to know, they want to get feedback, and they want to improve, and they want to reflect on where they're going wrong. And Google's, no offense, Google, if you're listening, but you need to give them, some feedback, even if it's just a percentage, you know.
Martin, I'm not sure if you're listening, but please, I don't feel patronized or something. I have not taken the, yes, I have taken the G site, but I failed it, so I understand the frustration there, but as you have already that much experience with Google Sites, you might have, I do not want to offend or patronize you, you might have thought that it is an easy shot for you, but then you recognize that there are numbers asked which in daily life are not necessarily important, or you just didn't reach the numbers or some things like that. So
no, but going back, as again, Rolf, I built sites and I was thrown. I said I was being too overconfident, and actually I was doing it with a colleague, the exam on that day, and I went, oh, I know everything about sites. Why do I have to look at the material? And actually, and I just scraped through 80% on that, and I was shocked. I thought, God, I knew everything about it. But then as soon as I went in the exam, I went, whoa, there was lots of stuff in there that I'd never gone into before, and half the stuff about, I would say 20 was guesswork, you know. So don't be overconfident, especially at essential exams. Yeah. Okay. Is there any more questions? Is there any questions I missed out, guys? You had a look?
Yeah, I just been going through it. We're good.
I think we're good, yeah. So keep the Q&A coming in, guys. We're gonna stay on here for at least, I don't know, another 10 or 15 minutes. But the only exam we haven't discussed yet is the hardest one of all. Is
the deployment. No,
and
we don't
I
even
only
talk
know,
about that.
like me and James have always we've always spoke about it, but never got around to doing it. And why it's so hard is that not only do they have a webcam on you, but they lock you down. Yeah, am I right, guys?
But that is the same with the admin as well. But with the admin, they didn't want webcam. So with the admin exam, you're locked down as well.
Yeah, you're locked down. Yeah.
If I'm not completely mistaken, yeah.
Well, yeah, let's just add to that. So the admin exam, all the exams have got the camera on. The admin exams seem to take it a little bit more seriously in terms of the camera. But the deployment specialist is the next level.
Yeah, there's nothing possible. You can't even
online testing.
Davis,
our friend Davis Appus, he had a watch on.
Yeah.
And the person facilitating his exam told him to take his watch off.
Yeah. So, like, well, you don't know, but what we're trying to say is that in the educator exams level 1 and 2, you have a webcam on, but I don't think that, to be honest with you, I don't think they're monitoring you all the time. I think if there was, say you you said, oh, I think I got that right, they might go back and look at some of the footage, yeah, to see what you were doing. But I don't think they're monitoring all the time. But the exam we're talking about now is they definitely do, yeah, guys? They're looking at you as you're going through the process, and if they see something wrong, they're going to pull you up on it and stop you and say, right, you need to do this, this, and this, or we're going to stop the exam.
No P breaks, no writing, nothing, and that is a bit intimidating.
No people in the room.
No people.
No, you're on your own.
No digital devices near you. No phone ringing.
No.
I don't know.
I don't know. Go on, Rolf. Sorry.
For Davis took the test. I did start taking it, but had technical problems. What I need to say about the that is a web assessor, the team web assessor who does the admin and the deployment. They have, I believe, 24/7 support, and if you have technical issues, they're right on your needs right away. And if you need it is a scheduled test, so you can't just take it when you want it. No, you have to start at a certain time. And let's say if you need to reschedule it, or you're sick, or they usually always give you a way of moving the tests. And give you instant feedback or voucher codes to give you comfort that the money is not wasted, because it's a $100 test.
Yeah, I only know one person in the whole of Asia who's passed this exam.
The deployment.
Yeah,
I don't know anybody.
Yeah, James, do you know anybody who's passed this in Asia?
Not personally, no.
No. Yeah, I think it's probably the hardest out of them all.
I think at Go Pomelo somebody must have passed it, isn't it? They are a very technical partner, and I have heard that Google had plans of making their laws tougher on partnership, and yeah, okay. We don't know how it all turned out. But,
where are we going with this, Rolf?
Yeah.
Which exam's this? Okay, no. Moving on. So yeah, I think we've covered most of the exams. We looked at educator level 1, level 2. So there's those ones. We talked about the essential exams, the admin exam, and finally we've talked about the deployment, which, like I said, me and James want to do one day when you get around to it. I think, it's probably the hardest out of the lot of them. But
do it. Let's all try to do it again.
Oh yeah, the reason I want to do it is because there's not many people I know who are certified in that area. It opens. But with all the certification, I can honestly say, people go, oh yeah, well, it's through Google, blah blah blah. But it does open doors for you, and they will open doors for you. And also, to be honest with you, when I applied for my new school, that was a great positive bonus that I had on my CV. Yeah. Does anybody want to add to that before we kind of go? Go on.
Maybe quickly, what I know about the deployment test is that it involves in much of the DNS settings and how you get a domain, how you administrate a domain, when you switch to which Google service at what point of the migration period. And as there are so many different communication protocols around there in mail, EMAP, or if you have user migration en masse, you need to use Google migration tools, or even other migration tools which go to EMAP, and then you go from EMAP to Google or some things like that. So you have your user a big focus on the network and the user migration in from other networking.
Yeah. I think that's the most difficult part about it, because we have domains. But trying to practice kind of perfect migration, I think that's quite hard to try and do something like that. I don't know. I haven't worked out yet how
it is kind of necessary to have a peek into network administration if it was Microsoft domain administration or any of the other very common. If you don't have any access to those, you won't be able to practice at all.
Yeah. Is there any Q&A any more coming, guys, before we go?
Checking down the list, mate.
No, I think we've answered all the questions. Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Actually, read all the content. We have a training material open.
I'm happy for Martin telling me that he is fine with me.
Yeah. Martin said, no offense taken, Rolf. So you haven't offended anybody tonight, Rolf, unlike you. No, I'm only joking.
No worries.
No, there's still time yet, though, Rolf. There's still time yet. Okay. No, I don't see any more questions in Q&A, guys. So I think we've covered it all. Has anybody got any other thoughts before we go off air? No. No. Oh, okay.
Hey,
go on.
Which exam would you take? Just thought of this. Yeah, there's no international schools out there are going to say it's a prerequisite to have Google Educator Level 1, at least not yet. But it does give you something to talk about. You go into that interview, and it gives you something to talk about. Have you used Google Apps? Yes, I've just taken the exam. Let me talk about that. So it is a very good talking point. A lot of schools, it must be, I don't know what % of international schools are using Google Apps now.
Oh, 50 million students, is it 50 million users across? Yeah.
And if we're talking international schools in Asia, it's a lot of them, if not all of them.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
so it gives you something to talk about. Definitely.
Yeah, it gives you something to talk about. But saying that, I was talking to some of the guys, international teachers in Europe, and they were saying that some of the international schools in Europe are now putting that the old exams that they had to have that before they could apply for that school. But that, like you say, that's not official anywhere else. But there were a few international schools, obviously because they use Google Apps from day to day, and they had obviously employed teachers before who didn't have a clue, and they just wanted people to have a background in Google Apps before they joined the school. And I think I don't know, it does open, like I said, it does open doors for you, and it has for me, and I think it has for all of us. And like I say, if you're a new user of Google Apps, the thing I love about Google is the communities, and everybody's willing to share. It's not like any other community I've been in. So it's not like being big-headed because you've got Google certification. It's just that you become part of a different kind of group, and even people, I don't know anybody who's Google certified who's kind of up themselves. They're willing to share everything. So have a go, guys. Yeah. If there's any other questions, please feel free to post on the event page, and we'll try to answer them. Anything else you have to say, guys?
Thank you to our on-watchers and messages who came to ask and help us. It was a real pleasure and made fun. Sharing is caring.
Yeah. Thank you, all the Q&A people. So Martin, Chris, Jonathan, and Sagan in Nepal, all the way from Nepal. And Sagan, good luck. I will look at. You sent me your CV. Sorry, mate, I didn't have a chance to have a look at it on the weekend. I will try and make time tomorrow. But good luck, and I hope you achieve your Google certification for being a trainer. Take care, guys, and hope you tune in to the next GEG Central Bangkok. Bye.
See you, buddy.
Bye. Thank you,
guys.
Bye. Thank you, Lee, for